This video is about understanding your International Baccalaureate, or IB, rubrics. We're going to be specifically reviewing the IB Design Rubrics, and the Design Rubrics are used in your technology classes, your STEM classes, your Project Lead the Way classes, and so on. But the information in general on how to read and use the IB rubric and how to understand it should be something that you can apply to all of your classes. One of the main struggles that students have had, in my experience, which is why I'm making this video, is wanting to know exactly what they have to do in order to get whatever achievement level they are looking for. However, IB is very much about developing your skills as an independent student so that you can be a lifelong learner. The IB philosophy is more about providing you with all of the tools that you need to help you be successful, and one of the most important tools is your rubric. There are two different rubrics that we use at our school. There is the MYP1 rubric, which stands for Middle Years Program. You know it as 6th grade. And there's the Middle Years Program 2 and 3 rubric, 7th and 8th grade. They have the same rubric. The 6th grade rubric, it basically comes with the assumption that this will be the first time an MYP1 or 6th grade student will be doing design projects or even really doing the IB program. So it's about easing you in to using the design cycle, the IB command terms, and in general the expectations that you will need to be meeting. The MYP 2 and 3 or 7th and 8th grade rubrics work exactly the same and will be taking you through the same tasks, but it assumes that you've been working on building your skills both as a IB student and as a designer for over a year, and that you are ready to go to the next level. So you will be completing all of the same tasks, just generally with more steps or requirements or detail than you did in MYP 1 or 6th grade, which is why it's always really important to read your rubric, because there are some big changes that happen between 6th and 7th grade. At the top of the rubric, it always tells you the general goals for that subject area for that year. For instance, in the design rubric, it tells you that a 6th grader by the end of year 1 should be able to explain and justify the need for a solution to the problem, prioritize the main points of research, describe the main features of existing products, and present the main findings of relevant research. And IB provides a generic rubric for teachers to use for each of their projects. 7th and 8th grade, you have the same structure. Again, there's just more detail in certain parts of it. I do have other videos that go in more detail about command terms and achievement levels, so definitely check those out too, especially if those terms get confusing as we move forward. Notice that there are 5 basic sections of the rubric, divided into pairs of achievement levels with one exception. So the 0 achievement level is on its own, but otherwise 1 and 2 are together, 3 and 4 together, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. In most of those sections are 4 Roman numerals, Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they match up with each other, meaning that there aren't 13 things you have to do, as it might initially look like when you first look at the rubric, but only 4 tasks. And you can achieve a 7 or an 8 on those 4 tasks, or a 5 or 6, a 3 or 4, a 1 or 2 on some of them, or a 0 on any of them. We're going to go through that in a little bit more detail. At the 7 or 8, which is the highest achievement level you can get, you, the student, have to explain and justify the need for a solution to the problem. So explaining and justifying are specific command terms that, again, I review in another video, but those are always available for you on your IB unit assessment projects in my room, on your documents, and as well as a word wall on the wall. So you could do a little bit less than that. You could explain the need for a solution to the problem, and that would be a 5 or 6. You could outline the need for a solution to the problem, which would be a 3 or a 4, or you could state the need for a solution to a problem, which would be a 1 or a 2. If you attempt to do those things but don't manage to, for instance, your group just doesn't reach the level of detail needed, or your group tries but ends up kind of doing something else other than what was asked, or for whatever reason doesn't meet one of the standards described, then you would receive an achievement level of 0, which is not a grade of 0. Again, I go over that in another video. That just means that your group attempted, you tried, you worked, you put effort in, but for whatever reason, you just didn't meet one of the standards required. The whole rubric works in the same way. So Roman numeral 1 is always about the need for a solution to a problem. The command terms, which are generally in bold and are verbs telling you what you need to do, tell you the level of detail needed to reach each achievement level. Roman numeral 2 is about your research plan and stating the research that you need. Roman numeral 3 is about features of an existing product, or product reviews is what we call them in the document. And Roman numeral 4 is about your overall presentation of your research and your findings. The year 2 and 3, or 7th and 8th grade rubric, works exactly the same, and it has the same topics: need for a solution to the problem, a research plan, product review, as well as your design brief with your relevant research. However, you can see that there are a lot more details involved, and that is why I'm making these videos, so that we can break all of those down and make them easier to understand task by task on each criteria as we move through the design process. So not only does this whole rubric work this way, but criteria A, criteria B, criteria C, criteria D, all of their rubrics work the same way. And to the best of my understanding, they should work very similarly to this in all of your classes, whether it is science or foreign language or your performing art. So if you come to me with those questions of, is this good enough, or is this a 6, or is this an 8, I'm going to basically redirect you to look at your rubric and see what it says, to review your command terms in the glossary, examine your work and see if you think your work is a 5 or a 6 or an 8, or if your work is good enough for whatever achievement level you are looking to earn. That's a really important student skill, and you have a lot of school ahead of you, so I want to help you build that skill. It's also a skill that will probably be helpful to you as an adult as you move forward in your life. Now, if you try all of that and you still have a difficult time understanding, I would of course come help you, but understand that that is going to be me coming to your computer to help you read the rubric, understand your command terms, examine your work critically, and I'm not going to just say yes, it's good enough, or no, it's not good enough. I'm going to walk you through the steps of how do you do that so that you can learn that skill. Part of being an IB student is making sure that you're using all of your IB resources, and that is a habit that just has to be built over time. That includes looking at your achievement levels and understanding what they are, reading your rubrics and making sure you understand what's being asked of you, and that if you don't, you ask questions. It's about making sure that you know your command terms, and that if you don't, you're reading your word walls in the classroom or the glossaries that have been provided for you. That you're watching videos if your teachers make you videos. That you are using any of those resources to help you do as well as you want to in your classes. I'm hoping to create a video for each of the 16 criteria that are in our design cycle. So that's criteria A, Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, and 4, criteria B, Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on. To use those videos, the directions I have in the documents themselves, the rubrics, and the command terms to help you reach the achievement levels that you are looking for on your unit assessments. I hope this video is helpful to you. And remember that you can watch it as many times as you want to, skip forward to the parts that you need, skip over the parts that you don't, pause and rewatch as many times as you need, skip around. It's a resource for you to use. Thank you.